This is an article written by my partner Pat Bronte. It appeared in the Insurance Coverage Law Bulletin, and the title is D&O Coverage for Corporate Criminal Investigations. Now, this is a subject that you don't hear a lot about. We hear a lot about insurance coverage for securities class actions, derivative actions, ERISA fiduciary lawsuits. But what happens in the face of a criminal investigation, of which there are many? Interestingly, the existence or not of coverage will, in most cases, as it should, depend on the definition of a claim. The definition of a claim in many D&O policies often includes a criminal proceeding or criminal investigation. However, sometimes coverage only attaches post-indictment. And as all of you criminal lawyers out there know, a lot happens prior to indictment. A lot of very expensive things happen prior to indictment. So one of the things Pat went into and discussed in this article was the extent to which policyholders, in attempting to adjust the coverages they're buying to deal with the current situations they're failing, many of which are now becoming criminal investigations or criminal proceedings, are attempting to change the definition of the term claim to include damages, losses, costs, and expenses incurred pre-indictment. And what I thought was most interesting about some of her observations was that to the extent you can change and broaden the definition of a claim, you can actually seek coverage for things such as grand jury investigations, responses to subpoenas, and other matters that carriers right now, for the most part, will tell you are not covered. They're not covered, and unless a criminal indictment comes down, we're not going to pay for all those costs. And as soon as it does, we will pay, to which I always say, well, bring on the indictment. Or, you know, let's lose that motion to dismiss, because once I lose a motion to dismiss and we start litigating, the carrier's going to start covering my discovery costs. And the carriers always say, well, you would never take a dive on a motion to dismiss, to which I appropriately say, of course not. And of course we wouldn't. But it is interesting that there's a fine line, and again, I'm oversimplifying, and Walter will tell you that each case has to be determined by its own merits. But there is a fine line between whether you are entitled to recover some of the costs you're incurring in responding to, say, a subpoena issued by the SEC, or an informal investigation, and what happens if a subsequent securities class action arises out of that. Can you claw back and capture all the costs you incurred in connection with the SEC matter because it helped you defend the securities class action?